Hello friends, welcome back to another Travs in the Trees. Spring is in full effect, winter has come and gone, and now we get to reap and enjoy another warm season. And I'm super excited for it. I gotta say, I really am. I have a lot planned over this coming summer. So in the meantime, here in spring, we're gonna keep up with some basics, and one of the things that we're gonna get into today is making a stick rock sling. So this thing is more or less interesting because it's one of the most easiest weapons I feel like you could possibly make if you're going to be in a survival situation where you're going to want to multiply your strength and you're going to want to be able to cast this thing, throw stones at a really high velocity, and potentially get yourself some small game. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it, and I'll show you how to make it. So, in a survival situation where you only have a shoelace and a stick, you're most likely first going to use that shoelace to make a bow drill and get yourself a fire going. Once you have some fire going, you could actually use a coal to kind of burn in a spoon portion, and then use a stone or something to kind of wear that down and get a nice circular groove in there. This will be more relevant later when you see it, but I'm just trying to kind of explain. You use fire to burn parts of the stick and then use a stone to kind of wear that down. But most likely you're not going to be too much shaping of this thing like you'll see in this video in a survival situation. But the overall principle is here. I'm going to try and make one a little bit more intricate. So yeah, we're going to see how this all comes out. But overall, you would really only need a stick, a fire. You could use something like a stone and just work in over time and get the groove and everything that way too if you wanted to, if you find a nice sharp stone. But overall, a piece of coal sitting on there, burning it, will also do a great job at getting you a nice divot in there that you can put your stones inside of. So this is a dead piece of wood, and you'd probably want to use some green wood in a survival situation. Making something out of that and letting it dry a bit will probably be a much stronger tool for you that'll last longer. But being that, you know, I don't need to kill a tree today or take its branch, I'm going to try and make it out of this, and hopefully everything goes well. We will see. Being that this is dead, some difficulties that we're also going to be dealing with is that there's knots in here. If you can find a piece without any knots, that would be most ideal. And this has got a bit of a crack forming in here. So I'm going to honestly think I'm going to try and split this a bit and see if I can get a decent crack to split here, and early on figure that portion out. Then hopefully I can wear some stuff down from there, get a nice handle made, get the spoon made. We're going to give that a try. Let's see how it goes. So I'm going to want to wear some of this down and try and get this flatter. And then I'll try to take this down a bit and make this more of the handle. All right, so up here is nice and flat, and I believe this is where I'm going to carve my spoon area that's going to hold the stones. So down here, I want to thin this out a bit up to the handle portion. So I'm going to cut into it and kind of slim this down a bit. So, as you can see here, I've cut in, and I am going to use a chisel to pop all of these out. Now, this is essentially the same thing what I was saying earlier about burning fire, is you could put your stick next to the fire or get it over some coals, get this heated up, and as it starts to burn a bit, take it out, use a stone, scrape it down. That's one way that you can shape tools with using a bit of fire. You got to keep good eye on it. Make sure you don't overburn your stuff. But that is one way to wear down the wood a bit and shape it the way you want without actually having a knife or having a saw. But having the saw, I wanted to go ahead and get a lot of those pieces in there. And now I'm going to go ahead and use that chisel, and we're going to try and pop all of these out and get a slimmer central spot right there. These little edge pieces are small enough here that I can just use the knife to pop those ones off a little bit faster than taking the time to chisel it all. So, gotten the handle to a nice spot that's about the size of my hand, feels pretty good. Was just using a stone there to kind of sand things down a little bit. Probably could do a bit more. But overall, pretty good size. It's holding all right. Thought the handle might be a little bit bigger, but really feeling it. If I'm gonna have this as an extension of my arm, I want something that's about the size of my hand perfectly, right? So, let's go ahead and get into the spoon portion of this. Just kind of using my knife and twirling it right now, starting a little bit of a engraving here. All right, use our chisel. I think I'm gonna go a little bit larger than that circle. I'm just gonna I think a mosquito just flew in my eye. Maybe it just brushed my eye. Okay, I think we're okay. Not looking forward to mosquito season, that's for sure. Honestly, thought it was still a little bit chilly enough that they wouldn't be out. Gonna have to throw some cedar oil on me next time. So we're getting a little bit of a hole created here. Obviously, again, if you're in a survival situation, you got your fire going, you get a nice big coal, you get it up on here and you just sit it on here and you let it burn on here. And as it burns, this all gets turned into char, and then you can take a stone and scrape that char out and get yourself a nice interior spoon-like thing here. But it would be cool to do some future videos where I make some of these purely with using fire. So maybe that's something we'll do. All right, so we've got a bit of a hole in here. gonna do a teeny bit of cleaning up here by spinning the rack I've got here in there, sanding it up, smoothing it a bit. But depth-wise, it's probably about good. I want it to just hold the stone, but not be so caught in there that it's stuck. Because as this thing goes and whoop, flings, you want that to come out of there flying out nicely. So that's about as deep as I probably want to go on this. So, what we're going to do here next is we're going to want a place for our string to be tied to for our sling portion of this. So, I'm going to cut some V-notches here so that we can get a nice little rivet that the paracord can be tied to, or the shoelace. Pretty decent spot. Got our notch. Everything's pretty well here. This is sanded nicely. I'd probably do a lot more sanding with this if I was gonna be holding onto this to get as many slivers and anything that I could be wearing down. But I think I'm gonna wrap some paracord here and make a paracord handle at the end of this. So I'm not gonna worry about doing that anymore. For the most part, this is at a pretty solid spot, so let's get into making the sling portion of it, and then we'll tie it up and we'll give it some test throws.
So, completed our sling stick, and unfortunately the only target I had was a bowl that I had some breakfast in earlier today. So I've got a paper bowl set up over there, but I am by no means a sling thrower. So I'm going to do my best here. Currently that's only about, 20, 25 feet away. So I'm going to try and throw some throws at it. I have a pocket full of stones that I picked up around here, but a lot of them are kind of piddly, measly. They aren't really circle and nice. So I'm going to throw some of these. We're going to give us some tests. And most likely after that, I'm going to move to a different location, something with a nicer view, and hopefully a lot more stones. And then I want to hopefully get out there and actually spend some time throwing and get a little bit better. And then hopefully we can record again. Maybe I can actually hit that target if we're lucky. So let's just pretend that, we're crashed on a tropical island, and that's a parrot sitting up on a branch. Usually when you're out in the wilderness and stuff like that, squirrels, birds, they don't necessarily fly away from you if you're within 30 feet of them. So that's kind of where the sling stick is like our range that we're hoping that we can hit this thing. Or we're trying to get dinner. I'm sorry, parrot, but what you gonna do? Maybe we're gonna pretend it's this vulture that's circling above me. How about that? That sounds a little nicer. All right, see how this goes. Got some light branches in the way and stuff too right now, unfortunately. So, get the stone locked in. They're tough to lock in because, again, they're not circled. They're not sitting in there well. We wrap our 3 fingers around, pinch with our thumb and our thing. Now, it's pretty crap terrain here. I'm already on a mound, so I might slip and fall for your entertainment. It threw. I didn't see where it went. I kind of got distracted by this hitting the ground after the fact, so I thought I threw the rock into the ground, but it hit something over there. Let's get another one locked here. Die, vulture. Ooh, too high. That was a very light stone, too. I will become the master of the sling stick. I was not gripping that properly. It's kind of interesting because it's like using the bottom of your 3 fingers to really hold it, and then you're pinching like this. So you're kind of like, it just feels more natural to want to like grip and hold something, and to only hold it with 3 fingers. It's quite strange. Well, that time I went right down into the dirt. Got closer. I almost wonder if I would have made the handle a little bit smaller. If I could have got some better grippage on it. Got 2 small stones left in my pocket, so we're gonna just throw them both in here and see what happens. Maybe that's the evolved sling stick. You get a whole line of rocks in there, so when you throw it, you're throwing a barrage of 5. See if that vulture can dodge 5. Okay. So, immediate take from this, I'm not good at it at all. I had one decent throw there that went pretty level with the paper plate. We'll see if some practice will improve. I'm going to go head out to another location, and we will go ahead and do some more practice there. One thing that I'm definitely feeling here is with my hand on here, maybe it was that it fit really nicely till I put the paracord on. Getting a solid grip on here while pinching and holding that Maybe my handle should have been a bit smaller. All right, so there's dinner right there. It's a big fat beach bird, and it's looking delicious right now. We've got our sling stick made up. We've done some practice throws, but at the end of all of this, is it worth the effort? So I'm gonna do some one-handed, then I'm gonna do some two-handed. I was finding two-handed was working well. I don't know if maybe I should have made this a little bit smaller, if the handle should have been a bit more. I feel like this is what I've seen before. So in practice, I'm thinking this is about right, but some of the things I'm noticing that I'm not necessarily liking is it's not overall fitting the grip of my hand as well as I'd like it. So I think making it a little bit smaller than this probably would have been better. But anyways, let's try and get that bird. I think a big problem with this too is that most of the stones I'm finding around here are all these flat ones. I feel like if you had a solid circle, more circular stones, those would probably fly better. It's an invasive bird. It's tricky because you got your stone and then you got to hold it. And you think in the rotation, doing it, that would be easy, right? You get the extended velocity and everything out of it. Problem is you have to let it go at the right time too. So it's definitely tricky. It's definitely tricky to get the timing down. I can see how it's improving and I'm getting better at it. If I was doing this for days at a time, I could probably really get good, but I'm half wondering if there are better survival tools. We got a bounce hit. We got a bounce hit there. Does that count? Did that knock the bird out? With this, I feel like I'm getting a better velocity by using two hands. If I choke up on it a little bit and use my other hand back here, it feels at least like I'm getting a much better overall whip out of it. That was close.
It's so hard letting go of it at the right timing to get it to fly perfectly forward. Oh, we got another bounce shot. Oh, using a heavier one like that feels pretty good, actually. It's funny, the larger ones are actually working out better. Another bounce shot. They keep flying up and hitting it. I mean, I feel like that would do something, but still not a direct hit. Oof, so close. Feeling better throwing larger ones though. These smaller ones are, I don't know. There seems to be more oomph behind the heavy ones. I feel like I can get more accuracy out of using that. Got to get that bird. Another bounce shot. We took the bird out. Got that hit right there. That's dead bird. That's dinner. That's dinner. Well, if you were wondering if that thing could actually do some damage, I mean, to me, I'm like, is this really getting that much force behind it? But that thing broke the stick that was speared into the ground there. So it completely snapped it off. I think that would definitely break some bones in a bird or fracture a skull or something. So if anything, you're getting him dazed enough to run up and spear him. I feel like my accuracy is getting more on for flinging it, but the releasing timing of getting it to fly straight is pretty tough. I feel like the accuracy is there because I keep getting bounce shots and stuff. I keep getting shots that go underneath it. So I feel like the accuracy is on. Now that I'm using two hands and kind of double swinging it together, it seems to be working all right, but actually hitting a target at the right release where it actually impacts it, I've only done that one time so far, so we'll give it another 20 or 40 throws, see if we can hit it a couple more times. Thought that one was gonna fully hit it. It bounced low and popped up into it. At first, the throws, I was really like, I don't know about this. But as it's going on, I'm starting to think this thing is actually something you could get really good with. You know how like some things are better in motion, like running and throwing, or like skateboarding, you can do tricks better when you're in motion. Wondering if maybe that's something similar with this. If you're like in the running and throwing, maybe that does a bit better. You gotta try things. When you're hungry, you gotta find out the right way to catch your food. Maybe we found it. Maybe we got it. Bigger stones and giving it a bit of a run. That might be the combo. I'll tell you what too, the size of that rock that I threw right there, I feel like it could hit me in the head and I'd be dead from that thing. Everything that I've seen before about this has always been a one-handed. So I'm half wondering if I just made this a little too large. So doing it dual-handed here is quite interesting. Like, I figured it was supposed to be about the length of your arms, but I feel like I have like large arms too, so. Two-handed's working though. We're getting used to it. I like the little run-in maneuver with there. Worked out. Give a couple more tries of that. I can tell you what, this is at least a lot more fun than making pulleys. Not that it's not bad to know how to do those things, but flinging rocks is kind of fun. It's all about the release. It's all about that release. Gotta get those calories. Gotta get that bird. Oof. Another bounce shot. So close. Maybe a bounce shot. But I'm not certain that a bounce shot wouldn't still knock something out or break its leg. Considering I've gotten, what, 2 hits and 5, 6 bounce shots already? I mean, if you practice enough, your odds start to seem a little bit more like, I mean, you assume you throw 1 stone, the bird's probably running away. Unless it's like never seen humans, then it's probably maybe gonna be like, what the heck, and jump like 2 feet away or something. Maybe you get another shot off, but you better hope there's a lot of birds around. You better hope there's a bunch of seagulls or something. Ugh, could you imagine eating seagulls? Ugh. So apparently, the sling stick was actually something that natives used and would play games with, like children would. So, you know, in my day, all we did was sit around and we found something to do with a ball, right? Like a ball was the best toy in the world, but there's something new on the market. It's the sling stick. Sling stick! Ah. Oh, it was an inch. It was an inch away. Oh, that one was close. I'm getting a rhythm here. I'm getting better with it. That one felt good coming out, but it swerved, it curved because it's a flat. You need nice, chunkier, solid ones. Well, people, that's the sling stick for you. You know, maybe worth it. I'm not convinced that throwing stones over there wouldn't be better. It's hard to say. If you're sneaking up and you're getting 35 feet away from a bird, you might be better off just whipping a stone at it and hoping that you get that. You might have better accuracy. The best way to use a sling stick is this. Come here, bird! I don't think I'm fast enough. I think that bird would have definitely flown away by the time I got 15 feet near it. All right, everyone. Thanks for sticking around and checking out the sling stick with me. Yeah, conclusions. Maybe I just made this a bit too large. It looked about to size to anything that I've seen on these. So, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know if this is worth the bang for the buck. I can see how I'm getting better at it, so maybe I'm absolutely wrong. But I'm also curious if just spending the time learning to make an actual sling could be better, could be something you can improve at more. I don't know, this thing's really tough in the sense of how you have to kind of maneuver it all perfectly. Keeping that like straightforward momentum isn't the worst part. It's literally letting go of this at the right time that releases the rock to actually hit the target. So from what I'm seeing overall, I would say maybe just pelting a rock at something would still maybe be better. At least I'd feel more confident in the accuracy of that at the beginning. But I will say, from when it hit earlier, it broke that stick completely. So maybe my arm would wear out more. I definitely can say like, I feel a little bit in my arm, but overall, like, it's not terrible. I feel like if I was throwing that many stones over and over, I definitely would feel more in my shoulders. Like, for sure, I'd be like, ooh, this is getting sore now. So maybe that's another reason, is for the amount of calories you're burning or how much, pain and strain you could be putting on yourself. That's another thing to consider. This was fun. I really enjoyed doing this. I definitely want to make some more weapon videos like this. It's fun to explore and, kind of do it. I mean, I don't know, maybe it'd be more worth it at this point to make yourself an atlatl. Heck, I even wonder if I could even engrave this further and turn this into an atlatl. I'm not certain. I've never made an atlatl, so that'll be a future video. I definitely want to do that. I think that's pretty much what I have to say about it. Keep practicing, keep trying. You improve. I definitely felt like I was throwing better than when I was in the beginning. It took me some time just kind of figure out exactly what was feeling right to me. So, yeah. Sling stick. If you appreciated this, if you enjoy videos like this, consider a subscribe. And as always, my friends, stay wild.